The Mavericks get it done at home for their third straight win to take out Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll break it all down coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night. Really appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports as the Mavericks get it done over the New Orleans Pelicans, 111-103 for their third straight win to improve to 31-26 on the season. Kyrie Irving's dagger three-pointer with 56 seconds left in the game delivers it for the Mavericks. Kyrie Irving now 3 straight games with over 30 points, 35 points on the night for Kyrie Irving. PJ Washington with a big night as well in his return after missing the last 3 games with his ankle sprain. We'll break it all down here for you over the course of the next hour plus here on DLLS Sports. Our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato will also join us live from the American Airlines Center as well with his thoughts and perspective on tonight's win. But Bobby, this is a team now that has won 3 straight games, 5 of their last 6 overall, and improved to 18-11 through 29 games at the American Airlines Center. Professional win tonight, I thought, by the Dallas Mavericks in handling their business against New Orleans tonight.
I want to disagree a little bit, KG, and I was saying this during the game. Like, don't be deceived by the Pelicans' record. They're the worst team in the West. They've lost 1 million of their last 1,000,001 games. You know, their only win was an overtime win against the Kings right before the break. They're out of the last, 11 or 12 games. But, look at the players they had available tonight and look at the players the Mavs had available. They had Zion, Kelly Olynyk, Yves Missi, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum, Jose Alvarado, Bruce Brown, Jordan Hawkins, Matt Kovic. All 9 of those guys would play big minutes for this Mavs team right now. So, I mean, they had to dig deep and play super well, I thought, in order to win this game. And this wasn't their best execution game. There were a lot of silly turnovers. Kyrie dropped 3 passes. You never, ever, ever see that. But they did enough to win. You know, they came up with enough stops despite facing a uniquely impossible challenge for them given their roster situation right now with Zion Williamson. But they did a really good job against Murphy. They did a really good job against CJ McCollum. They didn't let any of the perimeter players get loose, really. Zion was the only guy that was kind of getting what he wanted. And so they really won this game with defense. And then offensively, I mean, you saw how much they missed PJ.
Yeah.
Just a guy that's not afraid to shoot. He can bring the ball up the floor. He was scoring around the rim. He was getting some rebounds. Missed a shot, got his own putback, went up and got fouled. Just a combination of energy and size and toughness around the rim that has been lacking, for as well as Kessler Edwards and at times Omax has played, they haven't had a consistent forward that can get down there and just get some junky points around the rim. And PJ, not only can he do some of the fancier, cooler stuff, but he's so good at just scoring, kind of picking up the trash.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of that tonight. And so, I mean, him and Kyrie, they scored 59 points combined. That is holy moly, that was good.
Yeah, PJ Washington was great tonight. He had 10 points in that first quarter, going 4 of 6 from the field. I kind of joked with Bobby during the course of the game. It feels like at times the best offense for PJ Washington is to throw it up near the rim, get his own offensive rebound, and get his own putback to be able to get some easy buckets and points for him. But again, the versatility that PJ Washington brings, 24 points, 7 rebounds, had a couple of steals as well. His all-around game, Swiss Army knife type game that PJ Washington possesses, they were missing quite a bit over the last 3 games, and he provides yet another guy that's confident in taking open threes when he has them available to him, but also the toughness and the presence that he brings. PJ Washington was sorely missed, and you saw the combination of a lot of the game and variety that he has. He was able to do a lot of those things, and they were needed tonight. And they got some really good contributions from other guys that will laud throughout the course of this postgame show as well, including Max Christie, who had another solid game for the Dallas Mavericks. But Kyrie Irving PJ Washington, they were the ones that led this group tonight. Kyrie Irving, we mentioned, third straight game with at least 30 points, 35 tonight, 8 of which coming in a big fourth quarter, Bobby. And Kyrie Irving continues to solidify himself. And not only is obviously the best player on this team, the leader of this team, but the driving force offensively for Dallas. And he was all that and more for Dallas tonight.
Yeah, those two guys, Kyrie and PJ, are, Clay will have his nights, and Max Christie's had his nights. Dinwiddie and Dante Exum have had some nights, and Najee had that stretch where he was scoring 20 or whatever. But until Anthony Davis comes back, Kyrie and PJ are going to be the two guys that are asked to do the most for the Mavs. And it's a little more, or in some cases maybe a lot more, than they have been asked to do throughout the time that they've been in Dallas. So, like, going back to Kyrie's first season here, he was always kind of like the 1A. He was like the number 2 playing off of Luka. Luka was doing a lot of the playmaking, and Kyrie would do a lot of the scoring and then some playmaking. But now he's asked to be the lead scorer and the lead playmaker. PJ, meanwhile, is like, yeah, go out and bang, go guard their best wing, sometimes guard their center. He guards Wemby whenever they play the Spurs. But tonight he was guarding Zion sometimes, and he's guarded Kevin Durant at times. Like, he guards all sorts of types of players. And previously, even earlier this season, it was like, hey, PJ, can you get us like 13 to 15 points? Just go, like, be out there and contribute a little bit. But now he's going to be consistently asked to be like the number 2 guy.
Yeah.
Whenever he's in the game and Kyrie's not, they're going to play through him. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to be aggressive, in addition to the flow of the offense, spot up threes, and the junk that he always gets. So, those two guys are going to have to keep producing a lot. I hope they don't need to combine for 60 points every night in order for the Mavs to win. But, there will be nights where Clay shoots better. There will be nights when Dinwiddie and Exum don't combine to go 1 of 14. Again, if the Mavs are going to win with defense and not offense, then they are going to have to win games 111, 103 like they did tonight, and all you got to do is get to 110. If you get to 110, you're going to be fine.
And the Mavericks had 5 guys in double figures tonight. We mentioned PJ Washington with the 24.7 rebounds, Kyrie Irving with the 35 that he had tonight. Klay Thompson had 12 points tonight. Max Christie with another solid game with 16 points. Najee Marshall, 15 points, 7 big ones in that fourth quarter for the Dallas Mavericks, which we'll get to a little bit later on in terms of some of the turning points and moments that define how the Mavericks were able to win tonight's game. And Najee Marshall coming up big for this team, but we've talked about it throughout the course of the year. No matter the roster composition for the Mavericks, when they've got multiple guys, balanced scoring, 5, 6, sometimes 7 guys in double figures, they've had to rely on a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys. And you may not know from night to night who it's necessarily going to be, but give credit to Najee Marshall against his former team in the Pelicans for being that other guy outside of Max Christie and outside of PJ Washington and Kyrie Irving to step up and give him some big points and some big shots that he needed. His 3 with 2:28 left was able to extend the lead for the Mavericks, and Kyrie hit the 1 with 56 seconds left to make things real comfortable for the Mavericks pretty much down the stretch. But I thought Najee was really good tonight for Dallas as well.
He has a big shot. Also had 10 rebounds. He was active, and the Pelicans, like we were saying in the pregame, Matt Kovic off the bench for them is 6'10", 6'11", but Zion and Messi and Kelly Olynyk, I guess, might be 6'9". I don't know how tall he is, but Zion and Messi are playing a bulk of the minutes for them, and they're like 6'8", which they're a big 6'8". Don't get me wrong, long wingspan, big body, like really athletic, really explosive. Both of those guys, but the Mavs are dealing with such a size deficiency on most nights, going up against teams recently like Sabonis or like KP and Al Horford for the Celtics or whatever. But like going up against these guys, you're just as tall as them. So when those 50-50 balls are up in the air on the floor, like, go get them, and for Najee to get a bunch of those rebounds, for PJ to get a bunch of those rebounds, Omax pulled down 7 of them in 15 minutes. Like, rebounds are possession of the ball. And against a team that's kind of smallish like the Pelicans, and then have a pretty small backcourt too. I mean, Alvarado and CJ, like Bruce Brown, Hawkins, these guys are small. The Mavs were able to play at less of a size disadvantage tonight than they normally do. And that gives me a little optimism, moving forward. They're not going to play against teams with huge bigs every night. Like, one of their next games is against the Lakers. The Lakers don't really have a center right now, so like a traditional center. So if you're able to win these matchups where you're kind of playing on equal ground in terms of size, then like that's huge, because that's one less weakness you have to shore up on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah, for a team that has had a size disadvantage and will have one for the rest maybe of the regular season potentially, I mean, you were pretty much even on the boards with the Pelicans tonight. They out-rebounded you 53-47, but at the same time, you were even on the defensive glass. The Pelicans had 6 more offensive rebounds, but when you're staying within a reasonable margin in the rebounding department, given the size that you have, that's a big win for the Dallas Mavericks, and they were able to do so on the glass tonight. So on the numbers from tonight's game, Zion Williamson had 29 points in this game, including 10 in a 3-minute span in the third quarter, but the Mavericks really bottled him up in that fourth quarter to be able to hold him down as the Mavericks were able to get the win, of course. Mavericks shooting 36% from 3. Pelicans shot just 29.6% from downtown, going 8 of 27. Overall, the Mavericks shot 43% from the field. The Pelicans shot 41% from the field themselves in this game. Mavericks went 21 of 27 from the free throw line, while the Pelicans went 19 of 25 from the charity stripe. But obviously for this team, and we'll talk about it more as the show goes on, but again, give Max Christie a ton of credit. Now 7 games with the Dallas Mavericks, another 16 points tonight. Coming into tonight's game, averaging over 17 points per game. It right now, officially, for me, at least in the moment, is the Max Christie trade. That is how good he has been. Nothing seems to rattle him. He gets to his spots. He takes what the defense gives him, with his knocking down some mid-range, being able to knock down some open shots as well. Max Christie, Bobby, the 22-year-old, playing with a ton of poise and is really giving this team a real lift with his scoring, which I don't think necessarily we thought was going to be the case when the Mavericks acquired him from Los Angeles.
Plus 24 off the bench.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What a huge day for Max Nation.
Professional basketball player.
Christie and Najee both, they combined for 31 points. It was a lot for them. But, again, I don't think Dinwiddie will lay a goose egg most nights. But, if those 3 guys can combine to give them 25 to 30 points off the bench every night, or sometimes even more, then that's huge. I mean, again, this team is down so much scoring. Normally – your bigs, for most teams, don't provide a lot of offense, but on this team, Gafford and Lively combined for 20 a game. 80 scores 20, 25 a game. That's a lot of points that they have to make up, and this is a team that earlier in the season, even when they were kind of healthy, the bench was getting worked most nights, dude. Worked. And I think, maybe some prisoner of the moment stuff, but I think Max Christie is a starting caliber player in the NBA, even on a team with playoff aspirations, potentially even a team with deep playoff run aspirations. But if he is going to be this 30-plus minute a game sixth man and he can give you 15 points a night, then, dude, I mean, he's really good, man.
Before we take our first break, I want to touch on that real quick because obviously Klay Thompson, the veteran entrenched as a starter, is going to continue to be. But Max Christie is a guy, given the skill set that he has, defensively a little bit better. Obviously, the scoring we're starting to see starting to blossom for him. I think in a different situation, Max Christie would be the starter on this team, but obviously the respect for Klay Thompson and what he is for this team right now remains the starter, but he's going to get a lot of the crucial minutes down the stretch is Max Christie in fourth quarters, and I think as that continues for him, earning the confidence and trust of Jason Kidd and his coaching staff, that he's playing like a starter and getting the kind of minutes down the stretch that would be befitting of a guy that should be in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind Klay starting over him for all the reasons that you said. I guess right now the question would be, would he be starting or should he be starting over Exum? And I don't mind starting Exum just because it's some playmaking load off Kyrie's shoulders. Exum only played, 20 minutes or 21 minutes or something, so it's not like he played a lot. But whenever he's out there, he's mostly going to be spending that time with Kyrie. And if you can just make defenses think twice about picking Kyrie up full court or double teaming him kind of in some unnecessary situations, I think that trade-off is worth it. Again, because that does mean in the minutes when Kyrie's not the game, it is going to be Christie and probably Najee, and then maybe Dinwiddie or Exum or even both sometimes out there. So I think that's fine. I'm down to stagger some offense. I am curious, though, moving forward. I mean, if Kyrie and AD are still on the team next year, then, let's get carried away, KG.
Oh, okay.
You might already have your big 3, Nico. You might have it already.
We were joking as the game went on, and Tanner made the joke, look, man, maybe the Mavericks have found their version of SGA in the form of Max Christie.
Okay. All right.
No,
okay.
too much.
Okay.
Too much. I'm just kidding.
All right.
I'm just kidding. Don't you clip that
It's
and
late.
say KG said that Max Christie is the next SGA. I did not say that.
It's
We're just
late,
joking.
but it's not that late. We can't say that quite yet. Tanner, that's like a post-midnight take.
That's right. But nonetheless, a lot of fun for this Mavericks team. Now 7-4 in their last 11 games overall as they get the win tonight, 111-103 over the New Orleans Pelicans. Coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show, the Mavericks turning point in this game, the moments and plays that define how the Mavericks got this done, including a big fourth quarter from Kyrie Irving and Najee Marshall. Plus, later on our show, our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato live from the American Airlines Center. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. But first, let me tell you about the perfect gift for your passionate sports fan in your life, and it's Ice Shaker. Perhaps you have a passionate sports fan that loves to work out but likes to get their protein drinks and make them as well. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and MLB, and they will make the ideal gift for you. Created and used by the Gronkowski brothers, Ice Shaker sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with their workout bottles, and this bottle is the one that you've been looking for. You got to go to iceshaker.com and use code ALLCITY25 at checkout to save 25% on your order. Kitchen-grade stainless steel bottles that won't absorb odor like the plastic bottles do. They've got a patented twist in the agitator as well, so you'll be able to shake up your drinks and not have to worry about it getting all caught up in your Ice Shaker bottle as well. The agitator works as a strainer as well and makes for a very solid tailgating cup as well if you're going to your favorite sporting event. So order your team-branded bottles today at iceshaker.com and use code ALLCITY25 for 25% off your order. Ice Shaker, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles in the market today. Shout out to Ice Shakers.
How about Sleeper?
Oh,
how about Sleeper?
How about a winner over here?
How about Sleeper? Tanner, give the people what they want. My winning play, and with that 25% payout boost, I'm taking home even more cash tonight. I said Zion would score 20. He did like 5 minutes into the game. I said Kyrie would score at least 20. Well, he ended up with 35, so maybe I should have aimed a little higher. Trey Murphy, you are my new hero. He had 18 points but got fouled with like 10 seconds left, made both free throws. And then, of course, Mad Max Christie. He took care of his 10 points in the first half. A sleeper, the more you play, the more you pick, the more you can win. Their multiplier all the way up to 100 times your money. If you use the promo code DLLS Mavs, you can play $5 and get $55 on any time. It does not have to be your first play. Just check the terms of use and the conditions and all that stuff. Sleeper is available in 25 states, including Texas. Download Sleeper today.
Shout out to all of you in the chat right now. I see you, Aaron Deasy. I see you, Passionate Pearl. Appreciate all the love. Jonathan, I see you in there as well. Make sure you give the video a like as we are live on the DLLS Mavs postgame show as the Mavericks get it done 111-103 over the New Orleans Pelicans. Kyrie Irving, 35 big points on the night. PJ Washington in his return after his ankle injury, 24.7 rebounds, a big first quarter for him to get things started for your Dallas Mavericks. Let's go out live to the American Airlines Center right now and welcome in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. As Tim, the Mavericks have now won 5 of their last 6 games to finish up their homestand 4-1 on that 5-game homestand. And now they get ready to go on the road to take on the Warriors and the Lakers. But Kyrie Irving and Jason Kidd having already talked to the media, what did they have to say after tonight's win over the Pelicans?
Is Mark Stein still in an undisclosed location? Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Well, I will not disclose it either. But I was chatting with Jason Kidd, who is trying to leak some info about the whereabouts of Mark Stein. That was the most notable thing. Jason Kidd said, kind of walking off, just chatting real quick.
Does he watch the show,
I
Tim?
thought overall, Jason Kidd, he talked about just defending Zion. A lot of the initial questions were about Zion, and J. Kidd thought that the team sent him to the freeload line too much, adjusted better in the second half to that, did a good job rotating and doubling and then making those rotations. Got asked a lot of questions about Max, and apparently Max Christie beat Kyrie to the gym today, which
wow.
Kyrie was asked, well, how often does that happen? And he's like, not really ever at all. He's sometimes there at like 3 p.m. for a 7:30 game. And Kyrie also spoke, and he said he walked in and he saw Max just sitting there in his chair reading.
Wow.
And he was pissed. He was pissed about it. So, that was a big standout. And
Max Christie is a lunch pail guy, Tim.
Yeah. He's he was under the tutelage of Phil Handy, who is somebody that Kyrie mentioned and shouted out. And yeah, just said overall that this is a kid that, this is a guy who knows what his limit is. But that was the big thing that stood out. And Kyrie says he thinks Max did it on purpose, like he was trying to make a point, and they both kind of laughed about it because when the trade first happened, Kyrie made a point to be there even earlier than usual to make sure that Max wouldn't one-up him. So I guess we're going to have to see whether Kyrie Irving shows up at 11 a.m. or perhaps earlier for the next game day.
Shout out to Phil Handy, terrific longtime assistant in the NBA, great ball handling coach. If you've seen some videos with Phil Handy teaching ball handling skills, he is a fantastic coach and has been so a long time in this league. Shout out to Jacob in the chat. He made an interesting point, Tim. I want to get your thoughts on it real quick as we continue here on the post-game show. Is it time to start the Kyrie Irving All-NBA discussion? 3 straight games with at least 30 points, another 35 tonight. 9-time now All-Star, made the All-Star team this year, averaging nearly 25 points per game. Is it time to start the All-NBA push for one Kyrie Irving this year?
I don't know why we'd be starting it. This is something that I was talking about on the show a few months ago. So
it has begun.
Okay.
Let it be known.
Yeah, we absolutely were saying he was playing at an all-star level at various points of the season. And yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's going to be tough to, I don't think realistically he's going to be an all-NBA guy, but I think he's playing at that level. And problem is there's just so much talent in the NBA. I haven't given it a good look yet, but he is a, top 20 player in the league for sure.
Yeah, because if we're considering him as an All-NBA player, we're talking about him being one of the 15 best players in the league. We're talking about with the first, second, and third team All-NBA selections. There's still time in the last 25 games.
So many guys are already ineligible, though.
That is true. That's another key part of it.
They make it for that
That's
reason.
A great point. Because Victor Wembanyama, obviously not going to be eligible. Anthony Davis himself, unfortunately, not going to be eligible. Luka Doncic, not eligible as well. So the list of names, Joel Embiid is not going to be eligible either. So there's a lot of names that you start to look at and you start running down that, he's not eligible, that Kyrie Irving could find himself, even with the fantastic season that he's having, being in that actual discussion, given how the rules are set up for this when it comes to the All-NBA.
He is having a great season, though. And I mean, if you do want, postseason recognition for guys, even down to like sixth man of the year, which is the sixth man by rule kind of doesn't really have as big of an impact on team success as many other kind of roles on the team. But the best way to get recognition is for your team to win. So, I mean, if the Mavs keep winning, then why not?
Tim Cato live with us. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just agreeing.
See, look at you guys playing this. Tim joining us live from the American Airlines Center. The Mavericks moved to 5 games over 500 at 31 and 26. What else stood out to you from tonight's game as the Mavericks got it done?
Dallas got up threes, which they're going to have to do in a game like this when they don't have rim protection, when Zion Williamson is getting there as often as he is. And there was times that there was so much focus from the team's defense skewed over to Zion's side that, I want to say there was at least 2, maybe 3 pretty much wide open Trey Murphy dunks where the defense just couldn't get back in time, couldn't recover. And that's just going to happen when you're missing literally your top 4 centers, like all 4 of your centers. If they're all out, that's going to happen to some extent. You can't necessarily just go out and solve that. What you can do is score. And, Dallas, they took, they got up, I believe, 44 threes. And Jason Kidd talked about that being a meaningful thing. He said, we're going to try to lean into that being small out there. Just making sure the team gets up 3-pointers. And they did. And the Pelicans are not a team that had a bunch of shooting. They were far outpaced in terms of attempts and makes. Dallas doubled them up in terms of makes. And I just think that's the way Dallas is still going to have to win games at times during this stretch. Once, this team is healthy, once they have a bunch of big men out there, we can revisit the idea of, how a defensive win, what a defensive win would look like, what an offensive rebounding second chance, what all of those type things, you can win games those ways, but it's only going to happen when this team gets healthy. For now, it is going to be a lot of offensive game plan focused. And to do that, to be a good offense, especially when Kyrie Irving, is the main primary creator for this team, you're going to have to get up threes. Every role player has to be willing to shoot when they're open. And you see why tonight that Dallas made enough of them that, they pretty much made up for that advantage the Pelicans had at the rim and then some.
With this team about to go on the road to take on the Warriors and the Lakers, in your mind, how big
game?
Yeah, how big is this win for them? Not only given their injury situation, but obviously continuing that momentum that they started before the All-Star break and now trying to carry it on the road, and what should be two very emotional games, I would imagine, beginning on Sunday and, of course, on Tuesday.
Should be interesting. It's, every win matters right now. Dallas is looking at, getting this one means Dallas looks at the rest of the season, 25 games to go, and they would feel okay about the play-in tournament if they just get 10 more. They'd feel great about going a little bit higher than that, or at least getting to, confirming that they're going to be a 7th or 8th seed if they get 15 or 14. And with each one that you tick off, it's like when you guys were kids and Christmas was coming up, did you ever do the little loops and you would loop it around and you'd have this whole chain and that you would tear one off every day and that's how you count down, like 40 days to Christmas? You know what I'm talking about?
I actually think I remember that.
Yeah, it was just like paper loops and then you would tear them and then you would tear them.
Red and green, yeah.
That's all Dallas has to do with wins right now. And
oh my God,
there's no better feeling than a win.
Wow.
Yeah.
So deep that I never heard of it, to be honest with you.
I think we did it in like my elementary school class. It was it was like a thing.
Yeah, it was just like, it's like a craft project. You just take strips of paper and you tape them, and then you do a row of chains, and then every day you're tearing one off. And it's the satisfaction comes from being able to rip one and see it go smaller, go shorter.
Yeah,
and so
I love ripping
magic
one.
number is going to be
43
or 44 wins, 42 wins. Every single one matters. Every single win is a big win. It doesn't matter, yes, it's a big win in context, but it's a big win, period, because every win is right now.
Every win is a big one when they're dealing with the situation that they are. And
let it rip, baby.
And that's right. Let it rip. That's right. And did so in a big way over the New Orleans Pelicans. Tim, we really appreciate you joining us here. We know you've got a big weekend ahead of you. You will be in San Francisco and in Los Angeles on Sunday and Tuesday for the Warriors and the Lakers when the Mavericks visit both of those teams. Before we let you go, just your thoughts on the upcoming games that you'll be attending and what you're looking forward to and what you're going to be potentially seeing in those two games there.
The game on Tuesday in Los Angeles, it's a very big game because Markieff Morris gets to play his former team.
Mm-hmm. So, the reunion.
That's right.
Yes. That is where my focus is going to be. That's what I'm locked in on.
Bring the diehards that exclusive.
Yeah, I was saying they need the exclusive with Markieff for sure.
We need it.
If you happen to get Maxey and then some dude named Luca as well, that would be amazing if you were able to do that. Amazing. How about that word? Amazing.
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 Safe travels, Tim.
Well, safe travels, my guy. We will talk to you on Sunday afternoon for our pregame show as the Mavericks take on the Golden State Warriors, man. Appreciate your time.
See y'all.
Bye.
That's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. As we mentioned, he will be on the ground in San Francisco and, of course, in Los Angeles on Sunday and Tuesday. So make sure that you give him a follow for all of your coverage when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, and visit alldlls.com to become a diehard member for his amazing content covering this Mavericks team as well. Coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, we continue with discussing how the Mavericks were able to get it done, the moments that define how they were able to beat the New Orleans Pelicans. And a little bit later on in the show, we'll get to your chat as well. Let us know your thoughts or how you're feeling about the Mavericks having now won 5 of their last 6 games. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Let me talk to you about Saturday Neon first. Started by 2 college buddies. Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar as well. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country, accounting for only $75, including Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State signs as well. Unlike traditional neon signs, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you the classic uniform glow that you know and love. Lasting up to 100,000 hours, you'll be enjoying these signs for years to come. They're super easy to install as well. Low voltage, so they're always safe to the touch. They're the perfect gift for anyone that's looking to deck out their man cave, their bar, or whatever the case may be. So make sure you head over to SaturdayNeon.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. Again, SaturdayNeon.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off your Saturday Neon sign today.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or water or in studio, Kevin.
That's right.
Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features is they always float upright, so you will never lose a drink or a ham sandwich at the bottom of the river that you're tubing down, or the lake that you're hanging out in, or maybe the Jeep that you're off-roading. I don't spend a lot of time outside, in case you couldn't tell. They're crafted to handle the toughest environments. Their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure once you can get them open, KG. And they're guaranteed to keep their content cool for up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. Gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers, reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off.
Sorry, I was trying to get my Vanna White on now. I'm dropping stuff. Carry the show, Bob.
I do want to shout out my guy, Godsy101 in the chat. So Godsy and I go way back. Shout out to you, King. But he said, a win is great, but Kyrie having to play 37 minutes is less great. I agree. 37 minutes is not great, but optimistically, that's like a light night for Kyrie lately. 37 minutes for Kyrie is not really that big of a deal. You know, we're used to him getting up like 41, 42. So 37 is like having half a night off, really. You good, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I was trying to get my Vanna White on it.
You sure?
Yeah. I dropped my tablet, dropped my phone. I was having just real issues, but
that was tough.
That was tough. But you know what? Your read was amazing, though.
Thank you.
Your read was
amazing. I had one other thing to say, too, about Kyrie. So Tim mentioned the three-point shooting. The team was pretty good tonight, 16 of whatever they were, 16 of something. I don't remember what they were. It doesn't really matter. But for this point, Kyrie went
16 of 44.
Nice. So Kyrie went through a hell of a slump from 3. There was like a month and a half, 2-month span where he was like in the low to mid 30s, which for a lot of guys is fine, but for him, I mean, it's like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, we're used to Kyrie being up near 40. Well, in the last 5 games, he is 17 of 39 from 3.
Is that good?
That is quite good.
Okay.
So he is safely slump busted. And tonight he started off, I think he was 2 of his first 9 from the field. And I think he was like 1 of his first 6 from 3 or something. And then he just got red hot and carried it through to the end. So, you know, he's on some heater right now. And I think obviously the goal is you get enough other guys pitching in, scoring, your defense is able to step up and make some stops so that Kyrie doesn't have to score 35 every night. Because, you know, you got to put a lot of legs into these jumpers. And if he's having to grind for 40 minutes, then, you know, I want to avoid that. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Sure.
But, dude, I mean, he was great tonight. Absolutely great tonight.
Yeah, and he continues to be the guy that leads his team offensively at a variety of scoring, whether it be finishing with the left hand, getting to the rim, knocking down big shots. We mentioned the one he hit with 56 seconds left in the game to give the Mavericks a 10-point lead, essentially putting the game away for the Dallas Mavericks. And that gets us to some of our turning points of tonight's game. We fast forward to the second half. P.J. Washington, give him credit, off to a fast start in the first quarter, 10 points. Was able to knock down 4 of his 6 shots in that period. The Mavericks were able to take a lead going into halftime. But you go to that third quarter, Mavericks went on a 14-5 run and led 84-77 with a $1:45 left after a Kyrie Irving bucket. Again, just underscoring some of the big shots that he was able to knock down. And he got a lot of help from guys, whether it be Max Christie, whether it be Najee Marshall. He was able to really have a big effect with the help from his guys, especially in that third quarter. Then we fast forward then to the fourth quarter, where things got started back and forth as the game went on in that period. Mavericks started out that fourth quarter on an 8-2 run to push the lead up to 10 at 94-84 with just under 9.5 minutes left. And the Pelicans respond themselves. They go on a quick 7-0 burst to cut the deficit to 3 at 94-91 midway through the fourth quarter. So with 6 minutes left, the Pelicans hanging around in that fourth quarter. But Bobby, something that I thought was very interesting for the Mavericks defensively, Zion Williamson in that third quarter had 10 points in 3 minutes and was really getting after them, getting to the paint, really downhill all night, attacking the rim. But in the fourth quarter, the Mavericks made a real interesting adjustment, started doubling him, showing hard doubles when it came to Zion Williamson, getting the ball out of his hands and forcing guys like McCollum, Trey Murphy, and others to knock down shots on the outside, and they simply couldn't do it. And they were able to really stem the tide in that fourth quarter. But that defensive adjustment on Zion, I thought was very interesting from the Mavericks, and it worked out quite well for them.
Yeah, they'd kind of been doing it throughout the night. But the problem is, Olynyk can shoot. Majkovic can kind of shoot a little bit. But in the fourth quarter, was a lot of Yves Missi out there. And the Mavs were just leaving him open. And Zion needs that open lane to drive. And so if he's playing with a big that can't really shoot, then you can just ignore him if he's going to be spotting up. And granted, P.J. Washington plus Najee Marshall does not equal Zion Williamson, if he's got a head of steam going at them. But you can at least wall off the paint, force him to pass, and then you're not having to scramble to cover everybody. You're only having to scramble to cover 3 guys or sometimes even 2 guys, depending on who you're willing to leave open and who you're willing to roll the dice on. So I thought that was big. It seemed like a lot of Zion's points in this game came in transition. And the Pelicans were getting out and running. A lot of the turnovers in the first half were like real major, it's our first basketball game in a week and a half kind of turnovers.
Yeah.
And the Pelicans are making them pay. I mean, they had 22 fast break points. A lot of those came on free throws. Zion, with nobody in front of him, can just, he's going to get to the rim, and you have to foul him. Even if you're there, he can just kind of go right through you or kind of step around you. And if you're not there, then he's going to do some stuff that's going to end up on SportsCenter later. So, Kessler Edwards, Moses Brown, PJ, Najee at times, like they all just used fouls on him.
Yeah.
Forced him to shoot free throws, and he missed enough of those. He was 7 of 11 on free throws, which is a lower percentage than what he shot from the field. So they were all smart fouls.
Yeah, and the Mavericks were able to not only bottle him up in that fourth quarter, but we mentioned the Pelicans going on that 7-0 run to cut the deficit to 3, underscoring the point with Kyrie Irving and the big shots that he hit throughout the course of the night. He hit a 3 to stop that 7-0 run to push the lead back up to 6 with 5.5 minutes left in the game. The Mavericks were able to maintain a 7-point lead at 103-96 with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Things kind of slowed down and kind of grinded to a halt a little bit offensively, but Najee Marshall hit a big 3 with 2:28 left in the fourth quarter that pushed the lead back up to 7 again at 106-99. The Mavericks didn't score again until Kyrie Irving knocked down the three-pointer with just under a minute left in the game. That made the lead 10, and it finally felt after that Kyrie Irving 3 that things felt a little bit more comfortable because it was a nip-and-tuck game. Third quarter, there was some big runs between the Mavericks and the Pelicans, but the Mavericks were the ones that were able to make the shots down the stretch. And Kyrie Irving and Najee Marshall were the ones to do it with those 2 big three-pointers in a game where the three-point shooting wasn't great. The 2 timely ones, Bobby, that they hit were huge to be able to seal it for the Mavericks to be able to get the win tonight.
Especially timely because while that was going on, and even whenever the well was dry there for a second, think it was like 2 or 3 possessions in a row. Alvarado missed an open corner 3 that was like 80% of the way down, but then rolled out. McCollum missed a 3 at the other end. I think Zion missed like a layup or something weird happened. And so, Najee hits a 3, Alvarado misses a 3. Kyrie hits a 3, McCollum misses a 3. Like, those are huge swings in a game with only 2 minutes left. So, yeah, timely shot making matters a lot. Who is it? Oh, Brandon in the chat says Salt Lake checking in. Salt Lake City is like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. It is majestic up there. Flying in is so dramatic. You're like flying in through mountains, and then the city is like surrounded by mountains on 3 sides and a lake on the other. It is beautiful. It is so beautiful. I think in America we always think of like the most beautiful cities are like the ones that are on the ocean. Right? Because you get the views and all the scale of everything. But, dude, Salt Lake is love Salt Lake.
Well, shout out to you, Brandon, checking in from Salt Lake City, Utah as well, dealing with the cold air because it's been cold as hell around here.
Oh, my God, it's so cold down here.
So shout out to you for dealing with that cold air.
I'm dreading the walk home after this.
Wow. Let's get to a couple of super chats before we take our last break here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. Let's start with our guy, Will. Flock Nation with is he a Baltimore Ravens fan maybe? With the $2 super chat. Give Max the keys to the franchise.
Let's go.
I said what I said.
Let's go.
Will standing on business. PJ Washington to give Max Christie the keys to the franchise. I mean, again,
Max him out. It's in
Max,
his name. He's a Max player.
Maximilian, whatever you want to call him, he's balling.
Max a billion.
Yeah, he's balling right now. So shout out to Max Christie. Another solid game for the Dallas Mavericks.
Cormac.
That's right. His real name is Cormac.
Carl.
That's so wild. Randomly random with the not random $5 super chat.
Shout out. Thank
you. If the Rockets hold on to beat the Timberwolves, will be tied for 7th in the West and 1 game back of 6th in the West.
It would be huge. Right now, the Rockets are up 3 on the Wolves with under 6 minutes to go in that game. The game is being played in Houston. So if Houston can hang on at home, it would be big. And elsewhere, the Warriors and the Kings are playing. It's 2 teams that the Mavs will be facing very soon. Obviously, the Warriors coming up on Sunday. Warriors are up 17 through 3.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
Draymond said they're going to win the title.
Oh my god!
And they're coming out ready to prove it. So we'll see. I mean, it's like every single game carries so much weight down the stretch, but a lot of them are against teams that they're competing with for playoff positioning.
Yeah,
it's like all these games matter so much.
That Rockets-Wolves game is interesting because the Timberwolves gave up 48 points in the first quarter to the Houston Rockets, second most points they've ever given up in franchise history in a quarter. So the Rockets came out firing against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So interesting to see how that will play out for the rest of the evening. As again, the Mavericks continue to hang around. We know and has been well chronicled what the Mavericks have been through with the roster changes, the injuries, but the theme that is continued to be throughout the course of the year, no matter who has been and who is not on the roster, this team fights and continues to find a way. I think that's one of the overarching takeaways I have from tonight's game. They found a way to win. They withstood the Zion Williamson freight train, getting downhill all night, especially in transition. But you were led by Kyrie Irving, the returning PJ Washington, and these guys. I think part of what has made me so encouraged based on what I've been able to see from the last 6 games or so, and even prior to that, even when they were going through some of the losing, and they were still fighting, but they are using, I think, some of the experience of going through what they did last year. We know what they did in their most meaningful games, going 16-2 in those 18 games before locking up, the 5 seed before they made the run to the finals. These guys are understanding how to play with poise and how to continue to fight even when through moments of adversity. And I think you're seeing some of that play out, obviously with the injuries that they are trying to overcome. But it's good to see that experience is playing itself out even in the situation that they're dealing with.
Fight, belief, toughness. I don't want to get too philosophical here because I'm not in the room with them. And also, it's one basketball game, but iron sharpens iron, right? Pressure makes diamonds. And we've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks. There is an unbelievable amount of pressure on this team, self-inflicted, by the way, from the front office and ownership and all that stuff.
Very much so.
But there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of injuries and sort of things that are out of your control that would potentially lead the players and the team to think like maybe it's just not our year. maybe that's what they needed. Maybe when their backup is up against the wall, maybe that's when they're at their best. I thought that this Mavs team coming into the year was not in like a front runner way, but I thought that they were like bullies. They're like they're cocky. They're going to stand on business. They're going to roar. And Daniel Gafford's banging his chest. Derek Lively's jumping in the air, spreading his legs. Luka's talking trash, and like Kyrie's making everybody fall down. And like that's a team that is like going to let well, like the only guy that's still there is Kyrie, and it's a bunch of young guys or unheralded role players and all that stuff, and they still have it. So like all the big bad bullies are gone, and yet they're still winning. And they're still winning with toughness and all that stuff. So I think that, there is something to all of this adversity and difficulty that they've been through. It could lead to something good. It could lead to something bad.
Sure.
But right now, it's pretty good.
Yeah, you'll take the wins where you can get them. And no matter what game or what situation they find themselves in, this team will continue to fight and show that grit. I don't feel like this team will quit on any game that they play, no matter who they're playing. And I think that's really important.
Gakujin says, cheese makes pizza. That is so true.
It's a great.
That is so true.
It's a great observation. Let's take our final break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, more of your chat, maybe some more super chats as well, as we put the final touches and thoughts on tonight's game and look forward to the Mavericks taking on the Golden State Warriors. And yes, Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
Folks, you've been warned. I'm about to do something that could, it could get the people going. It's provocative, all right?
Oh, I was like, what is happening here? Okay.
What do you think I was going to have
I don't know what you was about to do, to be honest with you. I forgot.
Nice shot moment or something?
I've forgotten all about what you was about to do with this T-shirt.
Folks, Tanner, give me on the close-up.
Give me this one shot. There it is.
Watch what happens when I turn around. Normally, I charge for this.
Wow. Yep, both of us, we're in sync with knocking down the cushions. Look at that beautiful T-shirt. Beer drinking a beer?
That is a beer drinking a beer, folks, and you can get one of those at alldls.com at the ALLCITY store. But if you scan that QR code, or click the link in the description or go to alldls.com/diehard, then for a limited time, you can become a diehard for just $4 a month. It's $48 a year. It's our best deal we've ever done. Outside of like Cyber Monday. When you become a diehard, you get a free shirt of your choice right when you sign up. You also get to read all the paywalled content on our website, including a lot of stuff that Tim Cato's written about the trade and about the team. Also, more stuff coming as he heads westward for these games against the Warriors and those dreaded LA Lakers. You also get to read about Jeff Wilson's coverage of the Rangers season that's firing up in Surprise right now. And
Surprise.
Clarence and Joe on the Cowboys and their coaching staff makeover, including talking to the assistants and the coordinators. You also get to read Sam and Sean Shapiro on Stars, man. The Four Nations face-off was awesome, and the Stars are making a push for the Stanley Cup this year. You also get to join the DLS Diehard Discord. You get a merch on any shirts. You get a discount on any merch. You get a discount on any live events. You get your physical Diehard card. You get the whole shebang. So, check out the shirt. Check out the offer. Check out all sorts of cool stuff. And I'm going to get my hoodie back on because I'm so cold. So cold.
No better time to become a diehard member than right now. $48 a year. Make sure you go to alldls.com to become a diehard member. You get your physical diehard card as well. Tag us on social media. Let us know you become part of our DLLS Sports family, and do so by becoming a diehard today. You can join the over 17,200 strong when it comes to our subscriber count as well. That's the easiest and quickest way you can support us here at DLLS Sports. You can also download and subscribe to all of our podcasts wherever you get your podcasts for free. Give those a 5-star rating and write a review for those while you're there. That's right, Ardell. DLLS is good-ish. That is right.
That's right. Beast Grill saying Dallas won the trade. Yeah, I said it. That is the attitude that we need right now, man. We need some unreasonable hopium. We need some unreasonable optimism, some unreasonable irrational confidence. They've won 5 of their last 6, KG.
They have.
They've won 5 of their last 6, despite us sitting up here and rightfully saying that a team with no centers is going to have a hard time, and yet they're still winning games. Like, I just,
that's why they play the games.
And that's why we don't get paid like them. They
correct.
get paid a lot to go do cool stuff.
That's true.
We get paid to hang out on the internet.
We do, and we do a good job of hanging out on the internet. Thanks to you.
We also hang out a lot.
We do hang out a lot. We do hang out a lot. But yeah, give this team credit. And, I saw Mr. Smoke_show in the chat as far as Jason Kidd being a coach of the year candidate. Give Jason Kidd a lot of credit. We talked about how this team has fought throughout the course of the year, taking its cues from his head coach. Jason Kidd, an even-keeled head coach, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. The next man up mentality, which we have beat down to death when it comes to that particular phrase, but they have had to use that all season long. And through 57 games, 31-26 now, this is a team that continues to find ways to win in a variety of ways, getting contributions from a number of different guys. But when Kyrie Irving is the one leading the charge, playing as an all-NBA type of performer, he was an all-star this year, guys are following he and Kidd's lead, and that's huge. And P.J. Washington continues to blossom into a terrific player. And we were joking, of course, after he had the monster 27-17 game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, where we dubbed him PJ Oklahoma at that particular point. And someone had jumped in our comments and said, is PJ Washington a max player? I don't know if he's necessarily a max player, but what he's turned himself into is a terrific all-around player that still has some things to work on when it comes to, ball handling, decision-making at times. That left hand, we can use some work on that as well.
Oh, please.
But you're seeing the makings of a player that's got a good skill set that with continued improvement can really turn into a really, really good player in this league. And I think we're seeing the beginning stages of that next level of development when it comes to PJ Washington.
Yeah, and one of the unintended consequences of, like in a good way, of all these injuries and the trade and so much roster makeover and guys in and out all year is that coming into the year, PJ was supposed to be the third or fourth guy.
Mm-hmm.
And for most of the season, he's been like the second guy, sometimes even the first guy. Like this isn't the way that it was supposed to be. But what happens in these situations where there's so much unexpected stuff and there's guys missing and, the hierarchy is completely out of whack, it provides a lot of opportunities for guys to do stuff that they're maybe not supposed to do or not expected to do, or, under perfect ideal circumstances would be actively told not to do. And, PJ has kind of played outside of what his role was kind of supposed to be defined as.
Sure.
Whenever he came to Dallas. In Charlotte, he had experience as the second guy and sometimes the guy that would play through and all that stuff. So this isn't new to him, but there's a difference between doing that on a team, like in a situation the Hornets were in as opposed to in a situation the Mavs are in, where it's like in Charlotte, it was like, if we win, cool. If we lose, Where in Dallas, it's like, if we win, that's what we expect. And if we lose, we're all getting fired. So it is just different, and he's one of the guys that have taken advantage of it. Obviously, Max Christie is another one. There are guys that haven't taken as much advantage of it, but, they've won 5 out of 6, so let's celebrate the ones who have.
Yeah, and you mentioned, in terms of the role that PJ Washington had, in Charlotte when he was traded to come to Dallas, Nico Harrison immediately put his hand on the shoulders. Like, we expect a lot of big things from this guy, especially on the defensive end. Now the offensive game coming around as well with some different variety that he's showing there. He's got a Swiss Army knife type of quality to him, and they're going to continue to need that for the rest of the regular season. But most importantly, stay healthy as these guys try to make their way back.
Add health, don't subtract it.
No, exactly. Please, we want additional health, more and more health to come to this team.
Bring us health.
Yeah, bring all of it, especially with the way that we feel like this team can contend if and when they do get healthy as a team. We heard from Jason Kidd earlier this week talk about how March 6th is going to be a massive date for this team where we get evaluations when it comes to Derek Lively II, Daniel Gafford, and, of course, with Anthony Davis as well. So this team is trying to hold it together to see what can happen by the time the calendar turns from February to March. But, Bobby, as we know, coming up this weekend, they got an emotional game on Sunday. Klay Thompson returns again to Golden State. Of course, now playing with the Dallas Mavericks. It's going to be Andre Iguodala's jersey retirement night. And the Mavericks and the Warriors have played some terrific games so far against each other.
Oh, he's getting his jersey retired that day?
He is.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good for him, but that sucks.
Yeah, it's going to be an emotional day.
Home teams are like undefeated in jersey retirement games.
That's true. It's usually an emotionally charged day when the player's jersey is getting retired.
Damn.
Vince Carter's had like 10 jerseys retired so far this year.
She wouldn't have told me that. Now I'm dreading Sunday.
Really?
Just kidding. Andre Iguodala is, dude, he's one of my favorite players ever. I'm not even afraid to admit it. I love that guy.
Yeah, the way he remade his game throughout the course of his career is something to be studied, because he went from a guy that was like going to be just known as a dunker and turned into a really good defensive player as his career went on, and a valued member of the Warriors, knocking down big shots. Became a decent three-point shooter as his career went on. Not a great one, but a good enough one. You had to
retire your jersey the next game, though, bud. You have a couple days to think about it. Just reconsider. Get back to me.
Exactly. But you got that game, on Sunday afternoon, and then of course the entire, not just NBA world, but really a lot of the sports world is going to be focused in on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, when the Dallas Mavericks visit Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. If you missed it during our pregame show, we had our national NBA insider Mark Stein on, Dirk Nowitzki speaking at an event put on by The Ticket here in DFW, and Dirk Nowitzki making his first public comments since the trade of Luka Doncic. I encourage you. We've got some, nice little shorts on our DLLS YouTube channel as well that you can check out. But it's going to be an emotional next few days for this team, not only playing in San Francisco, but we know what's coming on Tuesday. I say that to say a big win for the Mavericks tonight to get some continue the same positive momentum that they started before the All-Star break, to hopefully carry that on the road as they go on a quick 2-game road trip. I don't think it'll be anything but quick, given everything that's going to be coming in those 2 games there.
Yeah, I mean, the circumstances of going to LA are definitely different than if LA were to be coming here. Like
that'll be in April.
I mean, 80 is out right now, and so any sort of like emotion on his end is sort of absent. Max Christie wasn't really there long enough to have any sort, so it's mostly just the guys that were here on the team seeing Luka and Luka seeing them. So, I mean, it's going to be it's obviously going to be a thing. But if the roles were reversed, I think it would be like, oh my God, like already so soon. That said, think back to the circumstances were different because Klay was there for longer and won a lot of titles and all that stuff. But whenever the Mavs went to Oakland or San Francisco, oh my God, they have not played at Oracle in like 5 years.
That's true.
Wake up. It was a whole thing. And like the game was kind of weird. The first quarter was weird, and like the intensity on the court was weird. Like it was
everybody in sailor caps.
Yeah, it was very not typical of a regular season game. And so I'm expecting that Mavs Lakers game to it's not really going to feel like a real game for a little while. It's just going to be weird. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. It's almost like whenever you watch NCAA tournament games, like there's just like sometimes the first 5 minutes of like the championship game is just like maximum chaos.
Yes, exactly.
You got turnovers and fouls and balls bouncing all over the place. There's bodies hitting the floor. Like I think it's going to be like just a weird game. And then everyone will get settled in, and it'll be fine, like midway through the first quarter. But I want to remind everybody, we are doing a watch-along for that game. So if you want to come hang out digitally with us and with other people in chat, we're happy to be your second screen experience. Pull up the Mavs-Lakers game on the big screen. Hang out with us on your phone. Hop in chat. It'll be me and KG here. I believe Jesse Hawley's going to join us. I think Abby's going to be here for a little bit as well.
Clarence Hill might pop up.
Yeah, I'm sure Clarence will for sure. He loves talking about the Lakers.
He can't stand the fake show.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. But it is just really nice to close the homestand with some wins and get back out on the road and get this out of the way, and then come back and try and keep going. And as randomly random pointed out, the Rockets are up 7 with under a minute to go. They're up 5 with 28 seconds left. So presumably they will win the game. I don't want to jinx them or anything, but presumably they will win the game. And the Mavs will be in 7th place.
Before we finish up, we want to thank our television audience for joining us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. We will be back on Sunday with our pregame show beginning at 2 p.m. as the Mavericks take on the Golden State Warriors. Visit alldlls.com to become a diehard member as well. And make sure you download and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. Search DLLS Mavs wherever you get your podcast. As we finish up here on the YouTube side of things, the Mavericks, of course, get it done 111-103 over the New Orleans Pelicans. Kyrie Irving with 35 points on the night as third straight game with at least 30 points. The all-star playing at a terrific level right now, pacing the Mavericks offensively. PJ Washington, big night, 24.7 rebounds in his return after missing the previous 3 games with his right ankle sprain. Second straight big game against the Pelicans for PJ Washington. By the way, with the win, the Mavericks do clinch the season series as well, winning 3-1 over the Pelicans. So holding a
take that.
That's right. Take that for data, David Fizdale. And so the Mavericks get the win to clinch the season series over the Pelicans. With that win, the Mavericks also moved to 5 games above 500 at 31-26, pending the outcome of tonight's game between the Timberwolves and the Rockets. If the Timberwolves go on to lose, that means your Dallas Mavericks will be tied for 7th in the West with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that means they will be just a game behind the Los Angeles Clippers for the 6th spot in the Western Conference. And yes, as of right now, shout out to Rated 91. Minnesota does own the tiebreaker at the moment, but tie for 7th.
They do play one more time, I think.
They do
right?
have, I believe, one more.
In Minnesota, though. That's going to be a tough one. That is going to be a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Not impossible, but it could be tough. Reflecting. Okay, so they've won 5 of their last 6. They were 26-25 after that really loss in Philly when they fumbled the chance to tie or win, and Najee had the fast break with the lead and flubbed it, and it was just God. And we said on the postgame show after that game, they're about to lose to Boston because they were playing at Boston 2 days later. And then they're going to come home and they're going to lose to Houston and fall below 500. And Kevin, I'll be damned if they won both of those games.
They did.
They have not fallen below 500. They haven't even fallen to 500. They're now 5 over. Not guaranteeing it's going to stay that way. But their next 3 games at Warriors, at Lakers, versus Hornets, versus Bucks, versus Kings, at Bucks, versus Grizzlies, like that's a tough stretch of schedule. But all of these wins are huge because if you do slip up, you're going to be fine. Like, you just rack up wins when you can do it, man. Wins are really, really tough to come by in this league. And these wins have all been very difficult, but they're winning them.
And that's all you can ask for. Find a way to get a win, and they continue to do it. I mean, you mentioned it real quick. If they find a way to get it done against Philadelphia and then they just get one damn stop on DeMar DeRozan in the game against Sacramento, we are potentially talking about what would be a 7-game winning streak.
Don't blow a rotation in Utah.
Yeah.
Beat the Hornets.
Yeah.
Just beat the Hornets.
Yeah, like that. Those are the things when you start looking back on how the course of a season goes, a loss here or a loss there where you had a chance to steal a game or two, those things can add up in the end. You can't necessarily win in the first 10 games of the season, but you can certainly lose position when you start looking at some of the games that you gave away early on in the year. But nonetheless, this team continues to find a way to get it done, and they did so again with the win over the Pelicans. With that being said, we will be back on Sunday right here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Our pregame show will begin at 2 p.m. with tip-off at 2:30 as the Mavericks visit Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and the Golden State Warriors as they will look for their 4th straight win. They begin a 2-game road trip on the West Coast with the Warriors on Sunday. And then, of course, on Tuesday night, a late start, Bobby Carella, at 9 p.m. as the Dallas Mavericks will visit LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the Los Angeles Lakers in what is going to be, up to this point, we thought that the Cavs and the Oklahoma City Thunder game was the most anticipated one when both of them were just winning a bazillion games in a row and facing each other. I can safely say that will be the most anticipated game of the entire season until the Lakers come to Dallas in early April. So we are looking forward to what should be an amazing weekend. And then, of course, on Tuesday night should be an incredible and surreal night as these two teams face each other. I wanted to get your thought real quick before we go to, Luka Doncic is obviously struggling so far with the Lakers. Do you feel like when he sees the Mavericks potentially, and we'll talk about more of this when we get to the game on Tuesday, but when he sees Dallas, do you think kind of, something snaps in him It like snaps him back into reality, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's right. These guys traded me and didn't believe in me anymore. And it could be something that could spark him to playing the kind of basketball that we're accustomed to seeing him play.
Maybe.
Or is he not healthy enough to even do that?
I guess like from a Mavs perspective, hopefully not, right? Like, I mean, it would be kind of cool to see Luka come out and try and go for 60 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you know, I haven't watched every second he's played as a Laker, but I watched his first game and I watched the last one. So I think I might have missed one in there, the game at Utah. But his game the other night, I mean, it doesn't look like he's moving very well right now. And obviously there's like some on-court stuff they got to work out. Everybody remembers what it was like when Kyrie came here and it took a while, like oil and water. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, simpatico. So you got to figure out some of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like he's moving great right now. And, you know, he though is a guy that if you don't have anybody that can stop him at the rim, he's going to score a lot, even if he's not feeling too good. So, you know, I'm sure he's going to be fired up, and I'm sure the Lakers are going to try and win by 80 for him. They're going to try and pick their guy up, and you know, it's going to be, I don't know what to expect. I really don't know what to expect. I know it's going to be really weird and really cool and really weird and really cool and really weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Mavericks, you cannot take any game lightly. You cannot look past any opponent, and you definitely can't do that when you're taking on the Warriors and then the Lakers on Tuesday. I'm interested to see how the Mavericks come out with their energy and their disposition in the game on Sunday. And then, of course, obviously on Tuesday when they take on the Lakers. So a big couple days for this team. But tonight, they get it done over the New Orleans Pelicans, 111-103. Kyrie Irving with 35 points on the night. PJ Washington with 24-7 in his return, as the Mavericks now have won 5 of their last 6 games, 7-4 now in their last 11 overall. They get ready for a quick 2-game road trip beginning in the West Coast on Sunday. Appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. Appreciate our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato reporting live from the American Airlines Center a little bit early on in the show as well. That's our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Curl. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We will talk to you on Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.